Story 5: The Soccer Star, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Lucy and Jonathan were heading home from the beach, where they had spent a fun-filled morning. They got there early to watch the sunrise and drink hot chocolate. They had even built an elaborate sand castle with a moat. Now they were heading home to try out a new popcorn machine they had received as a gift from their uncle. A friend of mine said they added chocolate pieces onto the popcorn as soon as it popped and was still warm. The chocolate melted all over the popcorn. I think I'm going to try that out, said Lucy. It's too risky, replied Jonathan. What if I don't like it? Then I would have wasted my chocolate and my popcorn. He thought for a moment. Actually, I'll take a bite from you, and if I like it, then I'll make my own, he said, smiling. Lucy pretended she hadn't heard him and walked straight ahead. The popcorn would have to wait. As they approached their home, they saw the bunny waiting by the front gate. It had been a few weeks since their last adventure in Tokyo, and they were thrilled to see the bunny. They knew the magic tree had sent the bunny to let them know another adventure awaited them. They rushed to the forest and were soon standing under the magic tree. "Welcome," said the tree. "I hope you are ready for your next adventure. And I also hope you like soccer." "Yes, we're always ready for the next adventure. But what does soccer have to do with it?" replied Lucy. The magic tree proceeded to explain. "There is a boys' soccer team playing in a tournament in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is Argentina's capital. The team that wins the tournament will get a big cash prize. 2 teams have made it to the finals, and their game is tomorrow." The siblings perked up. They loved watching soccer. "One of the 2 teams who made it to the finals is called Team Gaucho. Unfortunately, their star player cannot play in the finals as he has fallen ill. Without him, the team cannot win," said the magic tree. "Don't they have anyone else who can play instead?" asked Jonathan. "No, and more importantly, they need a great player so they can win the tournament, and this team must win," replied the magic tree. "Why is it so important for Team Gaucho to win?" asked Lucy, curious as to why the magic tree would be so interested in a soccer game in Argentina. "Because the team needs the money from winning the tournament. Recently, a fire burnt down the library in their neighborhood. It was a library they all loved, as they got all their books from there. If they win the tournament, they will get enough money to rebuild the library," said the tree. "What happens if they don't win?" asked Jonathan. "Then it will be a long time before their beloved library can be rebuilt," said the magic tree. "How can we help them?" asked Lucy. "There is a boy in a village near Buenos Aires. He is one of the best soccer players, but he does not play for any team," said the tree. "I have sent him a message and asked him to go and play for Team Gaucho. But he does not want to go as he has never been to the city before. I told him that I would send the 2 of you to accompany him. You will need to tell him the password so he knows who you are. The password is Tango. We are ready to leave. But what does tango mean? Asked Jonathan. Tango is the national dance of Argentina, replied the magic tree. As with their previous adventures, Lucy and Jonathan pulled the lower branch of the magic tree and entered the trunk. By now they knew exactly what to do. The adventure backpack was ready for them. They put it on, closed their eyes, and when they opened it, they were at a dusty soccer field in a village outside Buenos Aires. A soccer game was in progress. They walked over to the sidelines and watched the game being played. How do we know who the boy is? Asked Jonathan. They looked on, and it soon became clear who the boy was. He was a little older than Lucy and had control of the game being played. No one seemed to be able to tackle him. He dribbled and moved the ball around, leaving his opponents unable to score anything. He scored goal after goal with such ease that it seemed like he was playing by himself. After the game, Lucy and Jonathan walked up to him. He looked at them and said, "Hola," which means hello in Spanish, and then walked away. Lucy shouted, "Tango!" He stopped, turned around, and walked back to them. "You must be Lucy and Jonathan. I've been expecting you." "My name is Miguel," he said. "Unfortunately, I don't want to play for Team Gaucho, so I'm sorry you had to waste your time coming all the way here." "But if you don't play, then they won't win the money to rebuild their library," said Lucy. "Why don't you want to play? You are one of the best soccer players I have ever seen." "I'm going to get lunch. You are welcome to join me," replied Miguel, walking away. They followed him to a restaurant nearby and sat down at a table. "If you have come all the way to Argentina, then you must try an Argentinian meal," he said. "Should we have empanadas and then alfajores for dessert?" "Sounds delicious. What are they?" asked Lucy. An empanada is a traditional Argentinian pastry filled with meat, cheese, or potato. It's yummy. The alfajores are my favorite. It's an Argentinian caramel cookie covered in chocolate or powdered sugar, said Miguel. Jonathan smacked his lips, and when the meal arrived, wolfed it down without a word. He loved the alfajores so much that he asked for another one. While eating, Miguel explained to Lucy that he didn't want to play in the game because he was nervous about going into the city. Buenos Aires is a large city. What if I get lost? Also, I don't have any proper soccer shoes, and I need those if I'm going to play in a tournament, said Miguel. They tried convincing him, but he didn't change his mind. Finally, they gave up. Lucy insisted on paying for the meal. She opened her backpack knowing that the magic tree would have left money in there. These notes are pesos, she explained to Jonathan. This is the currency they use in Argentina. The coins are called centavos. They paid for their meal and said goodbye to Miguel. Once outside the restaurant, they opened the backpack and pulled out a note from the magic tree. Lucy read the note. It says here the game starts at 2 p.m. and we need to get there with or without Miguel. We need to take a bus from the village and head to the soccer field. There is a map to help us find it. We better leave now so we can make it to the game on time. They got directions to a bus stop and bought tickets to Buenos Aires. It was a pleasant ride and they enjoyed the view of the Argentinian countryside. There were ranches along the way and Jonathan even spotted an Argentinian cowboy called a gaucho tending to his cattle herd. Soon it started getting more crowded and they knew they were approaching Buenos Aires, one of the largest cities in South America. The bus dropped them off close to the city center, and they used the map provided by the magic tree to find their way to the soccer field. On the way, they passed the Plaza de Mayo. Lucy stopped for a moment and pulled out the note from the magic tree. It says here that this plaza is the main city square. The pink building you see over there is the office of the President of Argentina. We are close, said Lucy. They reached the soccer field and could see the two teams warming up on the sidelines. They asked a lady which was Team Gaucho, and she pointed to the team across the field. They ran across and spotted a man who looked like the coach. He had a worried look on his face. "Hello," said Lucy. "I'm sorry you don't have your star player, but we wanted to wish you the best of luck for the game." "Thank you, but who are you?" asked the coach. "Oh, just a couple of fans of the team," she replied, not wanting to tell the coach about the magic tree. The coach turned and looked at Jonathan. "We could use you as a player," he said. Jonathan looked confused. The coach continued, "We have a bigger problem. We do not have 11 players on our team. We only have 10. Without 11 players, we cannot play and will have to forfeit the game." "What does forfeit mean?" Jonathan whispered to Lucy. "Forfeit means they give up the game and the other team automatically wins without playing," replied Lucy. "I need an 11th player and he'll do," said the coach, pointing to Jonathan. "I have a uniform and shoes he can wear." "There is no way I can play in this game. I don't even play soccer that often. I'll embarrass myself," exclaimed Jonathan. "And how is that different from a regular day?" came the quick reply from Lucy, who had a mischievous smile as she teased Jonathan. "Come on, Jonathan. You just need to get on the field with the team, and that way they at least have a chance of winning." Jonathan thought for a moment. He saw the eager look of the coach and the other players in the team. He knew that if he did not agree, the team would not be able to play and would have no chance to win the money to rebuild their library. "Hand me the uniform," he said dramatically, and everyone cheered. The dramatic moment lasted only for a little while. Once Jonathan came back from changing into the uniform, it looked almost comical. The uniform was too big for him. He came out running with a shirt that was too big and shorts that went well past his knees. Everyone tried to keep a straight face. "I feel like a clown," said Jonathan. "You look like a clown," replied Lucy, unable to control her laughter anymore. Team Gaucho ran onto the field. Jonathan tried to warm up by kicking the ball around, but he knew he was not as good as the other older players who had trained for this moment for a long time. The referee blew the whistle and the tournament final started. Without their star player, Team Gaucho was getting nowhere. Jonathan tried his best but couldn't get anywhere near the ball. He helped the team once though, when he was standing near his goal and an ice cream truck passed. Hearing the music from the ice cream truck, he turned to look. When he turned back, the ball was headed straight for him. Startled, he tried to run away from the ball and in doing so hit the ball with his head. The ball, which was going towards the goal, now got pushed away. Jonathan had saved a goal. But the other team still managed to score 2 goals in the first half. At halftime, the team gathered around. They all seemed sad and were sure they were going to lose this game. As they talked and planned for the next half, Lucy suddenly saw someone familiar in the crowd of spectators. It was Miguel. She rushed up to him and asked him what he was doing there. After Jonathan and you left, I felt I should at least come and see the game. My father brought me here, he said, pointing to an older gentleman standing next to him. We need you now more than ever, exclaimed Lucy. The team is only losing by 2 goals, and you playing in the second half will make all the difference. Miguel thought for a second, but by then Lucy was already pulling him towards where Team Gaucho was huddled. He finally agreed to play. They rushed over to the team and asked the coach for a uniform and shoes for Miguel. She explained that Miguel was one of the best players she had seen and should replace Jonathan for the second half. Just as the second half started, Miguel trotted onto the field. Lucy and Jonathan cheered loudly. No one else seemed to care. They assumed that Team Gaucho was going to lose. Almost immediately, the ball came to Miguel. Lucy and Jonathan held their breath, but Miguel just stood there and let the ball pass him. Luckily, another Team Gaucho player managed to get the ball. I thought you said Miguel was a good player, said the coach. He is just standing there doing nothing. Something must be wrong, said Lucy. She ran along the sidelines until she got to Miguel. What's wrong? Why are you not doing anything? She shouted. My shoes are too tight. I cannot even move in these, he replied, shaking his head. Lucy ran back to the coach and explained what the problem was. The coach immediately found larger size shoes and called Miguel over. Miguel changed into the new shoes and ran back onto the field. As he was running, he turned around and gave Lucy and Jonathan the thumbs up sign. They both heaved a sigh of relief. The difference was tremendous. Miguel immediately took control of the ball and started playing better than anyone on the field. He then scored his first goal. This gave the entire Team Gaucho confidence, and suddenly everyone started playing better. The second goal came when there was 3 minutes left in the game. Miguel had managed to score again, and the game was now tied, 2 goals for each team. With the clock ticking, Miguel missed an opportunity to score. The tension was building up. Lucy started jumping up and down and could barely look at the clock. With 30 seconds left in the game, Miguel got control of the ball and started moving towards the other team's goal. He got closer and closer, dodging and tackling players as he went. He got to a point within distance to score the winning goal. And then he tripped and fell on his back. The other team's players started running towards him to get the ball. But then, almost like magic, Miguel leaped up and kicked the ball. Lucy and Jonathan watched as if in slow motion as the ball went past the goalkeeper into the goal. Team Gaucho had won! They would now be able to get the prize money and rebuild their library. Everyone ran onto the field, jumping and screaming with joy. They lifted Miguel onto their shoulders and ran around the soccer field. When things calmed down, they had the prize distribution ceremony. The players went up to collect their medals one by one. After the last player had gone, the coach of Team Gaucho turned and asked Lucy and Jonathan to come up. He then handed each of them a medal. "The two of you are honorary members of Team Gaucho," said the coach. "None of this would be possible without you." While the team was celebrating, Lucy went up to Miguel and whispered that they were going home. She thanked him for being brave and coming to play with the team. He shook her hand and waved at Jonathan. "Let's go home," said Lucy. "Any chance we can try and find the ice cream truck before we leave?" asked Jonathan. "We've got popcorn waiting for us at home," replied Lucy as she opened the backpack and pulled out the golden egg that would get them home. As with their previous adventures, they held hands and Lucy turned the top of the golden egg. They opened their eyes and were back home. The end. Now here are some fun facts about Argentina. These fun facts can also be found at the bottom of the written version of the story. Did you know that Buenos Aires is the capital city and largest city in Argentina? Did you know the yellow sun at the center of Argentina's flag was added to represent the Inca god of the sun? Did you know the earliest recording of the empanada recipe was in a Spanish cookbook from 1520? The empanada is still a widely popular dish in Argentina today. And April 8th is National Empanada Day in the US. Did you know that the July 9th Avenue is a major road in Buenos Aires? It is considered to be the widest avenue in the world. Crossing it is like walking an entire city block. It is named after the date Argentina got its independence. Did you know that the Casa Rosada is the office of the President of Argentina? It is painted a distinctive baby pink color. Did you know soccer is the most popular game in Argentina? The men's national soccer team has won the World Cup 2 times. And finally, did you know the tango dance originated in Argentina and then spread around the world? That's it for the story and fun facts for this week. See you next week.